Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and this week I've been driving the 2026 Mazda CX-90 S Premium. Up front is a 3.3 liter turbocharged inline 6, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be making this video here today because I've spent the last week driving the CX-90, and it's been a little bit of time since I've driven one, about 2 years since I've driven the CX-90, and this is Mazda's full-size 3-row SUV. And so I was excited to spend some time with it, especially while Mazda is currently rolling out the new CX-5 to get a little bit of brand perspective on Mazda. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 3.3 liter turbocharged straight 6. Well, that is one of the biggest calling cards here of the CX-90. Now, you can find these with a 2.5 liter inline 4 for the plug-in hybrid, and I have a review of one of those on my channel as well, the PHEV version of the CX-90. This is not a plug-in, however, it does have a slight mild hybrid assist. That's where that E on the Skyactiv badge comes from. It's a very, very mild hybrid. However, this is the most powerful production Mazda ever made at 340 horsepower. Now, we'll talk a lot about it with the final thoughts segment because it's kind of my overarching feelings about this vehicle, but it's very good to drive, and it's all because of that engine. Now, like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic. This is so far currently the only Mazda to get an 8-speed. Well, this and the CX-70, but let's be honest, the CX-70 is the same car, just without a third row. So really, this is the only Mazda with the 8-speed currently, and it's fine. It does the job, and I don't have any complaints, but I also think that their 6-speed is pretty good that you'll find in the CX-50 and CX-5. Last but not least, this particular CX-90 is all-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the CX-90? It's great. That is the biggest, best talking point of the CX-90 overall. It drives phenomenally. Again, it's mostly due to that engine, but the chassis is great too. It definitely has a lot more sporty of a ride. If you live in a world or an area dominated by potholes, this might not be the car for you. It has a little bit stiffer of a ride than some of its competitors for sure, but that equals a more communicative chassis when driving down the road, meaning you feel more of the road, you feel more sporty, you feel more connected to the road. And that's maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing. I personally like it and prefer it, but if you want that cushy, removed from the world feeling, the CX-90 isn't exactly for you. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital gauge cluster. I do like that it mimics standard gauges, and it's easy to read, easy to see, so I don't have any worries there. On the steering wheel on the left, we have our volume, skip track, phone options, and info. Info will change that gauge cluster screen around to show a couple of different things, but nothing mind-boggling. Off to the right, we have our adaptive cruise control, radar cruise with steering assist. Absolutely love this. Makes highway driving a breeze. And the overall steering wheel is nice and presentable. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent. We have our safety warning, sound off, parking sensors off, traction control off, iStop off, tailgate release, and 2 levels of memory seats. And moving out of the door, we do have a Bose speaker up top. I will be honest with you, it's not that great. The same week I had this car, I also had the 2026 Nissan Sentra SL, and that actually had a better sound system than this. So definitely upgrade to the Bose because it's better than the factory normal non-upgrade speakers in the CX-90. But if you're a big fan of music, this just isn't the car for you. The Bose is fine, but you're not going to get anything really spectacular out of it. Down below, we have the lock and unlock, power mirrors, and power windows. Moving into the center, we get our large infotainment display. This does have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and it is running Mazda's stock system. I don't mind it. A lot of journalists hate their stock system. I don't. I think it works well enough. We do have a pretty clear backup camera as well as a 360 camera. However, my gripe with the 360 camera is that it has these lines. There's very small blind spots in the 360 camera. So I don't know why Mazda can't figure this out. Every other manufacturer has to be a seamless system, but for the Mazda, you get a few little blind spots here and there. Down below that, we have the hazard switch and the on-off button. And then we have two climate control vents and the climate controls. I like how this is laid out, dual zone climate, fan speed, heated ventilated seats, and a heated steering wheel. All of this together works really well. Absolutely like this. And what's most important is the fact that they are physical. For the new Mazda CX-5 in 2026, they've gotten rid of physical climate controls. Well, not the case here in the CX-90. Down below that, we do have a 12-volt outlet, which is very nice. We have our MyDrive system, so normal, sport, and off-road. We do have an off-road mode. Can't imagine I would ever use it in this vehicle, but I have it. And then we have the shifter. The shifter's okay. It's a little awkward to use. It's over for reverse and then down for drive. I prefer the CX-5 or Mazda 3's shifter a little bit better, but that's not to say this is awful. It's just a little bit clunkier than what I would have expected. To the left of that, we do have our hill descent control and camera button, so we can take a look at our front view camera as well as 360 camera while moving at slow speeds. So above 10 miles an hour, it will turn off, but below 10 miles an hour, you can look at your camera system, which is very, very helpful. To the right of that, we have cup holders. We'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and it fails. No one's surprised. Then we have our control center here. So we have power parking brake and auto holding brake. We have our volume and skip track off to the right. I love how this is the same functional knob for both actions. Our favorite button, of which I've never used, my Mazda 3. I've owned it for 6 years almost. I've never programmed the favorite button to do anything. So I just don't find this very useful, but you have it. Then we have our joystick in the center to control the infotainment while driving, or if it's not in Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay is touchscreen. The standard Mazda infotainment is not, so you have to use this control knob. I actually like the control knob. I think it works well. I think people complain about it way too much, and it works for me, so I don't have any complaints. Then we do get a center console, 2 USB-Cs found in there, but otherwise not much. And then we have the seats. The seats are heated, ventilated, power, and memory. They are enjoyable. They're comfortable and what I would expect out of Mazda. I've always liked Mazda seats. Again, owning a Mazda myself, I've never been uncomfortable with it, so I think it's good enough. However, speaking of seats, the whole point of the CX-90 is to be a 3-row SUV, so let's go do some backseat reviews. All right, let's get into the second row of the Mazda CX-90, and I locked myself, gosh darn it. Take 2, back of the CX-90. My girlfriend's coat is back here. Ay, fumbling around today. So, once we are in the back, this is my seating position, and it's a little bit cramped. I'm gonna be honest, my knees, when I move them together, do hit the seat in front of me. So, not fantastic down there. We do have 2 climate vents, we have 2 USB-Cs, as well as our own climate controls. So, we could turn that on and we could actually adjust our temperature, fan speed, where to send it, all of those goodies there. So really, really nice climate customization. The back seats are nice as well. They have the same leather, and this does have the center seat where some CX-90s actually have 2 captain's chairs. This has the bench. We do get to enjoy the sunroof/moonroof, and headspace is pretty good. My head is not hitting the ceiling. Okay, I can actually move this seat back. So moving this seat back, now I'm comfortable and I do have space. So underneath the seat, I don't know if you can see this on video right now, there is a bar, and you can move it forward or back. So this is the furthest back position, and now this is pretty comfortable. Again, the driver could be a little bit more accommodating. However, the real test now is to jump into the 3rd row, so let's see how we fare back there. All right, so we have a button here. Okay, and it moves it up. There we go. So, climbing into the back. All right, we're in the 3rd row. So it's not awful when the seat is moved up. But again, that's how much seat space or leg room now the 2nd row has. So in all reality, this should come back more. Once we are back here, USB-C cup holders, USB-C cup holders, and climate vents all the way down here. So very nice to see that. It's an okay 3rd row. Honestly, the Toyota Grand Highlander has a better 3rd row. If you are cross-shopping that vehicle, that's gonna be a more spacious 3rd row than this. It's not bad. You know, you can see obviously like for kids, this is how much space they're working with. It's not bad at the end of the day. It's just not the most spacious 3rd row I've ever experienced. But again, this is a little bit more of a trade-off of I like driving and carrying a lot of people around. The Toyota Grand Highlander is just for carrying people around. If you like driving, It's not a good car for that. So it's a little bit more middle ground. I would have liked more space back here, but not the end of the world. Let's hop into the very back. We'll see how much space is left in the cargo hold, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the CX-90, button there, and it is a power-operated tailgate. Once we are back here, it seems I've left a Walmart bag from a recent grocery trip. Once we're back here, this is the rear space while you still have the seats up. So you still actually do get a trunk, even though you're using the third row. You could still put groceries back here, sports equipment, things like that. Now, if you do want to put the seats down, all you do is you push this. It's hard to do one-handed holding a camera, but you pull this and then push, and then those go down. So now you have tons and tons of cargo space. If you buy the CX-90, it's the exact same car, just doesn't have these seats, so it's completely flat. Funny enough, the CX-90 actually still has cup holders for a third row, but does not get the third row. So honestly, I always tell people, if you're between the CX-70 and the CX-90, just buy the CX-90, because then at least you'll have the third row if you need it. It's the same car every other way. So we do get a 12-volt outlet over here. Very nice to see. Some venting, and we can pull this up as well. A little bit of storage down there. Coming back up here to close it up, single push of the button, and it is power operated right back down. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I do like the look of the CX-90. This has like a blackout package, black wheels, and you know, the darker paint, which I don't love, especially on a rainy day like today. It's just kind of dreary, although literally this is the same color as my personal car, so I guess I don't have too much room to talk. But at the end of the day, it's just a little dreary. They have some really great like dark reds as well as soul red metallic and things like that. So I'd highly recommend looking at some other CX-90 colors to really accentuate the details. However, I like how this looks. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the CX-90? Well, as I've been mentioning this entire video, I do have a Mazda bias. I've owned 5 cars in my personal life, and they have all been Mazdas. I talked my parents into getting a CX-5. I've talked 2 friends into buying CX-5s just in the last year. So I'm a fan of the brand, I have to say that. There are a few little things in here that bother me. The 360 camera, the shifter, minor touch points like that, but by and large, I like this a lot. I think it works really, really well, and it's great to drive. And that is the final thought. That is the calling card. That is the end-all, be-all for the CX-90, is that it's fantastic to drive. If you're looking for a 3-row SUV, you got to take little Timmy and little Susie to soccer practice, as well as their friends, but you don't want to feel like you're driving a lunchbox. That's what this car is good at, and it's all down to that 6-cylinder. I was trying to think this morning while getting ready for this review of what vehicles are on sale right now, what 3-row SUVs are on sale right now with a 6-cylinder. And the only things that came to mind were from genuine luxury brands. Lexus at their TX highest trim level has a V6, but you're looking at $80,000. Audi in their Q7 has a V6, and again, you're looking at like $85,000. For the sub $60,000 price point, this is one of the best ways to get a 6-cylinder, and a powerful, fun, exhilarating one at that. The rumor has it that the next generation Toyota Supra will use this engine. But vehicles like the Chevy Traverse have gone 4-cylinder. Even the Buick Enclave have gone 4-cylinder. The Subaru Ascent is a 4-cylinder. The Toyota Grand Highlander is a 4-cylinder. Okay, there is the Honda Pilot. The Honda Pilot still uses the J-Series 3.5-liter V6, so that's really the only competitor to this, and I like how this drives better. This drives a lot better than the Pilot. It makes more power than the Pilot. It's more exhilarating than the Pilot. And so, yes, there is another vehicle in that segment that I just thought of, but also this is the better of those two. So that's why you buy it. You need a 3-row, and you don't want to drive an absolute dud in the pickup line. That's what the CX-90 is good for. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Mazda for letting me borrow their CX-90 for the last week. Huge thank you to Drive Shop for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this vehicle. And of course, the Midwest Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.